because it was during the Depression years, 1933, and he got laid off at Produce House. Somehow he got in touch with someone who was looking for help in this lumber mill. So we had to move from Seattle, Washington to Snoqualmie Falls. Mr. Weyerhaeuser owned a lumber company, and he hired Japanese men because they were very conscientious and did whatever they were told without any questions. And they were hardworking men. So my father was really lucky to be hired. But when we moved up there, Mr. Weyerhaeuser had, in the meantime, built barracks for the workers. We had a little enclave where the families and whose fathers worked in the lumber mill had one section, and then he built another section for the bachelors. Mr. Weyerhaeuser built that way, but then he made a large unit so that there was a kitchen and there was a living room, and then which became a dining room also too. And then there was 2 bedrooms. It had enough for 4 families to live in it, and we had an outhouse. So everyone was a community outhouse. As far as I was concerned, at least it was a place to call home. So I think my thinking was different from city folks who lived in a regular home and had all the running water and all that, so our perspective would be different. We had a Japanese bath, and we also had a spring water bath. And so each family took their turn every day or every evening. Then we would scrub the wooden tub clean, and then we would refill it with cold water. Then we had to make sure that there was kindling on the outside and wood that would be needed to burn underneath the building, so that where the bathtub was, so that the water would be nice and comfortable when everyone took their bath. So that's where I learned how to chop woods. During the summer after school let out, then our whole family, not my father, because my father had to work in the lumber mill. So my mom and my 2 brothers and myself, we would be included among some of the other Japanese people to go pick berries at some farmer's place, and then they would house us. And so we would earn enough money to buy our school clothes for the following year. Skirt, and in fact, during the summer when we went berry picking, I didn't have a pants. I had to wear a dress, and consequently, when you pick berries, especially strawberries, it's low to the ground, so you have to get on your knees and then pick the berries and go along. Well, by the time the summer session ended, then my knees would be almost raw because I had to kneel down on it to pick my strawberries. And so, but my mother never got me a pair of pants, never. So each year it is the same thing. So I know that when I went strawberry picking, that's what was going to happen. That by the end of summer, that my knees are going to be raw again. But that's something I lived with. So we did that 4 years. Every summer, I expected my knees to get raw because of that. But my mom, she had a pants, but I never got a pants. And so I just accepted the fact that that was life, I guess the parents are more important than us kids, especially my family anyway. So I managed, so I knew that that was going to happen, and it did. But just managed, and it hurt and all that, but it healed, and it was okay. No, but that was life as I knew it. Yeah, it was hard, and a lot of people, almost, they had similar incidents too. And then, like when we picked boysenberries or blackberry, the thorns would prick your arms, But if you didn't have one of those covers for your arm, too bad. My father ordered shoes too, and make sure that my shoes would last the whole year. He would make a pattern of my old shoe, and then knowing that as we grew, then our feet would grow tall. So he would add a little bit of width or length to this old shoe, and then he would get an old tire and copy the outline of my old shoe, and then when we got the new shoe and from the catalog, then he would cut out the pattern on the tire, and then he would put that onto my brand new shoe, and that became my so-called good shoe, so that I had to wear the old one out until that had a hole in it or whatever, and then wear my shoe that had the extra layer of sole on it, and then likewise for my heel, he did the same thing. And so that's how I grew up.